So, summer is the best time to teach personal development because we are less likely competing, we are competing with less priorities that are fighting for the attention and time of our students. So, today I want to give you three types of activities that you can include with your youth group this summer. If you're responsible for programming, you're responsible for organizing daily activities, you're responsible for coming up with curriculum this summer in any capacity. If you're working in a summer camp, summer mentorship program, if you're working in a homeschool co-op, if you're doing summer school and you want to get creative, you are in the right place. And we're going to touch on that as soon as we get back from our introduction for today. I'll see you in a little bit. You are excellence. Your mind is of excellence. Your visions are of excellence. Your unique superpower is nothing short of excellence. You amplify a voice of excellence. Your contribution to this world will be of excellence. You will achieve your highest goals and desires with excellence. You are capable of excellence. You have an inner power of excellence. You will achieve excellence in everything, every time. Thanks for stopping by. I'm Linnita Hosten, and I coach high school students to prepare post-graduation plans so that they can transition into their dream career with ease. If you're watching today and you're watching live, type in "I am here." Let us know that you are watching live. If you happen to catch the replay, you can type in #replay. And if you're watching for the first time, let me know where you're watching from, because sometimes new viewers join us. And it feels good to see like what parts of the world are actually tuning in to absorb the content that I'm sharing. So that's my homework for you. We are streaming on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. I urge you to subscribe if you think the content today or past content has been enriching, insightful. If you find it to be valuable, share with other people. We love to get the word out about all of the goodness that God is doing. So you saw the topic, today's topic: creative summer activities for youth groups. My first job was at Starbucks. I worked as a barista for 3 years. My second job was a summer camp counselor. I was hired my junior year of college and my sophomore year of college, actually, the summer going into junior year. And it was the first time I got a chance to work with kids, and I loved it. They were bad. Yes, they were. It was hot. We had to get really creative. There were so many different kinds of age groups that we were responsible for engaging. We had a cafeteria, basically, some board games. Old school play. So we had to think strategically about how we were going to organize the day. And so that's my beginning backgrounds into what we call recreation. In addition to that, I've been a homeschool co-op speech instructor. So I've worked with schooled children whose parents wanted them to have some type of school-like experience. And that also, same thing, very little resources or materials inside of a classroom. I had to be creative. I've also been an adjunct professor. I've been a private tutor for grades 6 through 8 in the subjects of English and math. I also had to get creative in teaching learning. I'm giving you some background and some insight because I had to get creative, so I get it. And 8 hours is a long time. And I guess it's 7 if you take away lunch, and maybe 6 if you take away outdoor play. But in addition to your normal activities, if you're putting together a schedule this summer, I just wanted to share with you some things that I want you to keep in mind that we should be infusing to teach our kids this summer. And just to be honest, a lot of it is actually coming out of my latest workbook, The Pursuit of Black Excellence for Teens, which is broken down into 3 areas: self-excellence, community excellence, and life excellence. A lot of the activities that I'm going to talk about today are in the book. So you could essentially get this book. You could use it as the instructor, facilitate that. You could just get creative, but I just wanted to be honest. That's where it's coming from. I am also with the sense of transparency, I am pre-recording today. I have a kickball game today. Your girl got to get some fitness in. And I promised my team I would play with them today. And so today's content is pre-recorded. So if you're interacting live, I promise you I will come back and acknowledge your comments. But I did want to say that because I am not ignoring you. So, three kinds of activities that I want you to think about infusing in your summer activity this year or in your daily time that you have with youth. And again, these activities or types of activities can be for middle school. They could be for elementary school too, actually, but primarily middle, high schoolish, that sort of thing. That's who I'm targeting these activities for. So let's jump in. The first one is visualization exercises. I want us to get in the habit of teaching our kids the power of seeing something before it happens. That means that you can articulate in words um, what experience you'd like to have, what sensory that would evoke, what it looks like. And through the visualization, you can also teach them how to research what that would cost them financially, personally, professionally, what's required of them. It is through visualization that we can get clarity about the things that we may desire. So, an example of this would be um, I know in the pursuit of Black excellence for teens, I have students read over Vice President Kamala Harris's bio. And it's really brief, not even maybe 2 paragraphs, but it talks about all the things that she accomplished in her life. And then the students have a writing exercise of writing their own bio now. What is it that you will want people to say about you, some of your life's achievements that you'd like to be recognized? And this is a really powerful exercise because initially the student might have some very, maybe some vague accomplishments. They graduate college, they have a family, but encourage them to dig deeper. What type of work did you do in your community that made change? What type of donations and philanthropy did you do? It's a really creative way to engage their critical thinking without teaching them that. So it's a byproduct, them doing this kind of exercise. Critical thinking is a byproduct of them thinking like really intentionally about their future and what that looks like. I used to be a volunteer for the Maryland Business Roundtable Speakers Bureau, and they created this curriculum that I was responsible for going inside of high schools to facilitate. And one of them were a visualization exercise where we have the students guess how much rent, car insurance, like every bill that the average family would have at their age, maybe at like 25 or so. Um, we have them write out what they think those costs are. And then we have them research what those costs average out to be. And then we have them research the kinds of careers. We had them total up the costs. Then we had them research the estimated career averages for different salaries. And then we had them do the math. So based on the kind of lifestyle that they felt like they wanted to achieve, what's going to be required of them? It was a very powerful exercise. Some of them were saying, oh my God, my parents are doing a really good job. Some of them were saying like, wow, I didn't know my mom paid for all of that. So it's good. It connects like fantasy to reality. Visualization is very, very powerful. And so we can teach that. So you can do one exercise a week. You can have 30 minutes of journaling and have a different journaling prompt. You can get creative about how you teach visualization. You can show videos about people who have visualized something and it has come to pass. You can pull up podcasts and have them listen to it, maybe the first 15 minutes during lunch in silent because they're listening to the information. Just those are some creative ways you can infuse visualization without like blatantly saying, I'm going to teach you how to see stuff before it happens. Like, but without doing that, you can do that by way of a creative exercise. So that's number one. Here's number two. Y'all know I'm very passionate about self-discovery. I feel like when our kids are in their adolescent stage, they have the privilege to explore and get to know who they are intimately. When that privilege ends is when they're transitioning into the real world and survival kicks in, where they have like things that are required of them. They have more responsibility. They have competing priorities. Self-discovery is not high on the list. Well, when when multiple things are not competing for their time and they have a sense of like very little responsibility, that's the best time to be exploring who you are. So I'm an advocate of self-exploration, and that is just a fancy way of saying Let me get clear on what in the world makes up this human body as me. What do I like? What do I dislike? What ticks me off? What lights a fire inside of me? What can I do with my hands tied behind my back? What things am I really good at? What do people say about me? What characteristics and attributes do I naturally, instinctively have? Like being able to answer those questions. What are my core values? Where did they come from? That's self discovery. And we should be teaching them to do that. And the reason why I think we should be teaching them early is because when you are very clear on who you are, there is not one person who could tell you otherwise. You are not easily influenced by other people's opinions. You're not easily flustered when people say things that are contrary to your self concept. There's a distinct clarity about self. So I want our kids to have that clarity, so much so that a bully can't penetrate their self esteem. And that comes through self discovery. There's this exercise inside the Pursuit of Black Excellence, and one of them is called Building and Communicating Boundaries. And we give the students 5 scenarios. If this such and such thing happened, how does it make you feel? Why do you feel that way? And what do you need to say to that person to move forward? These are the kinds of exercises that are getting our kids to think critically about not only just managing their emotions, but what kinds of things make them tick. They need to know that. And I always say, you can't push a button that doesn't exist. And we disarm people the ability to push our buttons when they don't exist. And we get ahead of that by knowing who we are. If you know you're sarcastic, if you know you're short-tempered, if you know you kind of lack patience, when people say things like that, it's not offensive to you. You're like, yeah, I do struggle with, being a little bit overbearing. Here's another exercise inside the Pursuit of Black Excellence for teens where you are doing an inventory of your strengths and power qualities is what I call them. Language is key. So how you talk about these things matter. I don't say weaknesses. I say opportunities for growth. I speak in the language of life. And so I speak those things as if they are. We were speaking things into existence, the qualities and attributes that we like to display. And so I love this activity. You're just simply asking them to just think about the things that they're good at. What compliments have they received repeatedly? What challenges have they overcome? You're literally building self-esteem is the byproduct of doing these kinds of activities. You're getting them to think about what makes them uniquely them and then having ownership of that. And so these are just 2 activities that are included in the Pursuit of Black Excellence. Again, some other creative ways that you can infuse self-exploration or self-discovery. You could have them interview some of their loved ones and ask them questions like, tell me what you think I do really well. Tell me what you love about me. Tell me the best memory that you have. What are some of the attributes that you have, that I have, that you wish you had? Like interviewing someone who knows the student really well. And the byproduct of that is they're being edified and they're being affirmed in the thing that they naturally do. And to some, they may not have realized. So that's another activity you could do. I'm trying to think of another way you can do self-discovery. You could create some real life scenarios at camp, right? Scenarios of drama or a conflict, and then talk about why that could be, why that could stir up emotions and how maybe the conflict made them feel and why. This could get really deep, but self-discovery is invaluable. And while we have our kids and while we have their ears, their minds, and their hearts, while we have a level of influence over them, we should be teaching them these very basic life skills. So that's number 2. And then the last one is relationship building activities. Listen, I don't know about you, but when I tell you God has sent me some amazing people along the journey, I cannot take credit for the kinds of relationships that have been built along the way. And I urgently teach every student I have the opportunity to coach. You have to maintain and sustain, build, seek, recruit people to be a part of your executive cabinet, is what I call it. We should all have some type of counsel that we confide in, we trust, we seek advice from. They're like our safe place. And they're people who know us really well. We don't have to hide. And so, relationship building activities, an example of such would be have them do an inventory of everybody in their village. Have them start from elementary school, identifying every person who they feel like supports them or love them or have shown support and love. Do the same thing for high school, and do the same thing for people who they met by way of their parents, people that they met at church or extracurricular activities. Just have them do a complete inventory. And then I always urge, this is an exercise that I do with the students that I coach. I have them circle the people who they feel most connected to. And then I urge them to send them a text message or call and tell them that they actually see them as someone in their village and they wanted to acknowledge that. And just say thank you. Like, I noticed for the past few years, you've really shown up for me. I consider you part of my village. And I just wanted to say thank you for all your support. And then you could throw in, I'm learning about the importance of relationship building and I want to maintain this connection with you. Very mature. But y'all know me, excellence in everything, every time. So I ain't coming for no mediocre tactics and tips. Our kids are capable and competent of having mature dialogue and understanding mature concepts. And so relationship building is a mature thing and it's a possible thing too. And again, this is also talked about in the Pursuit of Black Excellence for Teens. Lots of relationship building pieces in there. The whole second collection on community excellence talks about that. Relationships external of the home, how our kids can be impactful, influential in their communities after they've done some self-discovery. But there's value in being actively engaged amongst other people. And so that is also included in the Pursuit of Black Excellence for Teens. If you're interested in grabbing your copy, you can do so at thepursuitforteens.com. And if you're interested in doing a bulk order, you can also, if you go to thepursuitforteens.com, just go click on contact and then submit your information there. Or you can comment on the live stream tonight and just say, I'm interested in the bulk order, and we'll reach out to you. So, when I wrote the Pursuit of Black Excellence for Teens, I envisioned that it would be used in large groups. I didn't write it for one-on-one. I wrote it for like mentorship groups, summer camps, summer programs. I thought this was a great time to highlight this resource. Use it. I did all this work so that you could be the beneficiary of creative programming without having to come up with it. Don't think so hard this summer. Grab a resource that will help you align your creative goals to like tangible action items because it's there and it's very affordable. So make sure if you're interested, you grab your copy at thepursuitforteens.com. Listen, that's my topic for tonight. If you found this information helpful and you say, okay, I want some more creative ideas, let me know. Shoot them in the comments. If I get enough interest, I'll do a part 2 because I got plenty. I got some games too. We ain't talk about no games. Some games that you can play. I'm a former cheerleading coach, so I got activities and chants. See, you ain't ready for it for real. Well, thank you for tuning in tonight. I appreciate you watching. Again, if you are just now tuning in, we discussed 3 creative activities that you can incorporate in your summer programming with youth groups this year, middle school or high school. And I'm excited that even if you had an interest in watching this live stream, communicates to me that you desire to do more than just the average. If you are doing any summer programming, you could easily just do free, right? You could easily take the kids to the movies. You can bring in a guest speaker. You can do you could do what doesn't require a lot of effort. But there's some intentionality that's required when we think strategically about how we're developing our kids. And I'm all passionate about all things intentionality and all things our kids and their growth. I love you. That's all I got for this week. I'll see you next Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm Linnita Hosten, and I'll see you then. You are excellence. Your mind is of excellence. Your visions are of excellence. Your unique superpower is nothing short of excellence. this world will be of excellence. You will achieve your highest goals and desires with excellence. Excellence in everything, every time.